Joining us now, Delaware Governor Matt Meyer. He is not only governor, he's also a former public school math teacher. So, Governor, is this going to be amazing?
Chris, we're still waiting to hear details, but I'll tell you this. Yesterday, the president announced he's dissolving the Department of Education. Today, he bought over $20 billion of fighter jets. I don't know if there's a clearer way for us to understand the priorities the president has right now. But at a time when educational outcomes in our state, quite frankly, and across the country are really not what they should be, and we need performance in our schools and our public schools, our traditional public schools, to be excellent if we're ever going to thrive as a country, what I see is lack of investment, lack of strategy coming out of Washington.
Well, let me play some of what the Education Secretary, Linda McMahon, said yesterday.
Governors would always like to see funding without any strings attached. But that is the goal of the president, too, is to have as few strings and regulation as possible. Right now, for about every dollar of funding that goes into the states, one statistic that's shared with me is that 47 cents is spent in regulatory compliance. The president would clearly like to see that money being used to educate our students, and that's the goal.
She says this will mean less red tape, fewer regulations for the states. I mean, is that what you're expecting? And I wonder what your conversations are like with other governors who are trying to figure out what this exactly means.
Well, we hope she's right, but to borrow from a long time ago Republican candidate for president, where's the beef? I'm a math teacher, and all the talk about dissolving this and dissolving that and money's going to the states, it's all politics till I see the math. As you mentioned, I'm a math teacher, and we're trying to see if this means a whole bunch of additional unrestricted money to the states. First of all, as an American, I have to say that gives me some concern. I think when you allocate money to educate kids who need it most, I think there should be some strings attached. I think it should be outcome-based and performance-based. I don't think that we should be, when in our state government, we don't say schools and to different departments, here's the money, do what you want with it. We say here, we're not going to restrict everything you do. We want it to get to classrooms. We want there to be the benefits that are appropriate. Listen, there are a whole bunch of other problems with this. Yesterday, they announced Pell Grants, Stafford Grants, all sorts of critical, essential student funding for higher education is moving to the Small Business Administration. Then today, they announced the Small Business Administration, which today manages with a skeleton staff $1.6 trillion of loans. They announced they're cutting the staff in half. So I know how I run my state government. I know how we run our organization. It's hard to see how the numbers are all going to add up in a way that truly benefits the American people.
Yeah, in addition to Pell Grants, the administration is claiming that Title I funding won't be affected because other departments will handle them. But a statistic I found, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that last year Delaware had just under 150 schools receiving Title I support. You're someone who taught low-income and underserved students.
In one of those Title I schools, that's right.
Yeah. What does this mean for those kids? Why is this important?
Well, understand that a lot of people are right in saying the federal government does not actually go and educate kids. It never has. But what it does is it provides, number one, critical resources to kids in too many communities who are left out and left behind. Title I schools and resources for Title I kids, those are kids being raised in poverty. It's fundamental. It's fundamental to our future as Americans that we give every kid an equal shot. When you walk into a school, you deserve an equal shot, whether you ate breakfast at home that morning or not, whether you got two parents who are working at home or not. You deserve every opportunity that every rich kid has. And the federal government for a couple of generations has said, we're going to provide that guarantee to states. And what happened yesterday is they said, we're not going to provide that anymore. The same is true with kids with disabilities. Let's be honest. This country has not treated kids with disabilities equally in our schools for as long as it's existed. For a long time, disabled kids were left out, left behind, put in the corner, told they couldn't come to school. We have the federal government to thank through a variety of laws, American with Disabilities Act, the IDEA, Individual with Disabilities in Education Act, things like that. I want a president, I want governors who are going to stand up and say, yes, we're going to get resources to the most vulnerable among us, not because they're my kids or not even because they're family members of mine or neighbors of mine, but because it's the right thing to do and it's fundamental about our values as Americans.
Well, let me ask you about, again, the SBA taking over student loans. Right now, millions, literally millions of high school seniors across the country are trying to figure out what they're going to do next, right, where they're going to go to college. Student loans are so critical to that decision. How concerned are you about any impact on Delaware students' ability to afford, ultimately attend college?
We're very concerned. Obviously, it's not, again, what we see is a government that's a federal government that's willing to leave behind working class people. Student loans, let's be honest, the kids of someone like Kelly Loeffler, right? I think her husband runs a stock exchange. They don't really need to get student loans, right? This isn't Linda McMahon, her kids, her family. That's not a big concern. We're talking about working class kids, maybe the first in their family to go to college. They need this. It's an opportunity to move up, to break sometimes cycles of intergenerational poverty. And you take away these supports, whether it's Title I, whether it's IDEA and services and supports for disabilities, or Pell Grants and Stafford Grants, the student lending you referred to, and you're taking away these opportunities for kids, opportunities that have been built over generations, because that's what makes us America. That's what instills us with the basic values that when you go into our public education system, you're going to have the same shot that any of these wealthy families have to make it. And it seems like in Washington, they're doing everything they can to take that away.
Your passion for kids is palpable. I'll bet you were not a bad teacher, but Governor, thank you. Let's see what happens going forward. I hope you'll come back as we see how all of this unfolds and we can have, a conversation moving forward. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Chris. We need people to fight. We need people to fight against this. It's really important. Might not be important to your kids, but it's really important to a lot of kids, millions of kids out there across the country. Thank you.
Well, I should fess up. I come from a family of teachers. I'm the black sheep, obviously. So thank you for your service, Governor.